Super creative.
Instagram is a lot like a rock concert in a stadium, except there's no stage. And everybody in the audience thinks that they're the star and is desperately trying to get the attention of everybody else. People start putting in more and more effort to get that attention. There's ad banners everywhere, and it just becomes this massive amount of noise. Oh yeah, and the people getting paid, they're not posting or consuming the content. I want you to stop for a moment. Imagine yourself quitting Instagram, deleting all your content, your profile, the app. Did you just feel a little bit of fear? Did you feel a little quiver in your stomach perhaps? Or did the thought excite you? How does using social media make you feel? Is this the best use of your time, or are there better ways to reach your goals? Welcome to Super Creative. We can be reactive, or we can be creative. It all depends on how you choose to see. Hi, I'm Rob Lyons, and this is Super Creative. First, a brief backstory about my experience with Instagram. And to be clear, I didn't just quit Instagram, I've quit all social media. This isn't some 30-day detox, it's not some excuse just to make content. I completely nuked all of my accounts, and they cannot be recovered at this point. If you want to take the island, you have to burn your boats, as they say. I'm singling out Instagram because as creatives, I think you and I probably feel most strongly about Instagram. Now, I joined Instagram back in 2010. At the time, I was working as a video producer, and I was starting to get a little burned out. When the photographer at my job quit, I started doing that, and it was the perfect alignment of jumping headfirst into photography and having a place to share the images that I was creating. I quickly found others on the platform whose photos I really enjoyed, and we chatted back and forth on the app. It wasn't long before I started attending Insta Meets. Do you remember those? Instagram would have these worldwide Insta meetups, and they'd send event organizers these little care packages for hosting their own Insta Meets. And I started making a lot of friends in real life through this app. It was a really good time. I mean, I was having a blast going to these Insta Meets, and it felt like a community. And Instagram even used that hashtag, remember? Community first. I was loving every minute of it. I used to say that Instagram put the social in social media. But good things rarely last forever, do they? It wasn't long before all the corporations started noticing all this excitement, and Facebook purchased Instagram in 2012, and it was the beginning of the end. By 2017, there were no more Insta Meets. The people I knew who organized them, who had massive followings, were starting to quit, and I no longer felt that sense of community. And day by day, it seemed that Instagram was tweaking the algorithm to make it more and more like its competition, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever the flavor of the week was. They were also trying to monetize the platform as much as possible. They realized that all these users on the app were making money and a good living producing content, and they wanted their cut. They wanted in on that revenue. So they started making the algorithm adjustments to make it impossible to grow your account and therefore your influence on their platform. And they did this just a few years earlier on Facebook, if you remember. Now, this trend has continued year after year, and we're honestly at the point now that I don't think it's worth my time to be on the platform, to post my work on the platform. This is all a result of Meta desperately trying to become TikTok. But TikTok is not a social media platform. It's a video entertainment platform. The high fructose corn syrup, junk fast food, mouth breathing, drooling from the side of your mouth, lowest common denominator version of a video platform. It's meant to watch mindlessly if you want to decompress from real life after a long day. It's not to form connections between users or learn a new skill like something like YouTube. Instagram is trying to move from being their social connection platform that they were to an entertainment platform like TikTok. And this is why you get so much suggested stuff in your feed, so many reels. It's trying to just ram your feed with content that you like. They know you, and they know what you like, believe me. And that's to keep you on the platform long enough to consume as many ads as possible. It is trying to be what it's not. It seems desperate, and nobody likes a copycat. You've changed, bro. Thanks to these algorithm tweaks, I've watched my following shrink to less than half of what it once was. And my like count is less than 10% of what it was at its peak. Look, I know it's not all about the external validation and resulting dopamine hit you get from a popular social media post. But I enjoyed the progress I was making, the growth. It actually inspired me to get out more, to push my creative boundaries, and take things to new levels. And I did like the idea of being able to share my work and actually having people see it. But I was clearly doing this for the wrong reasons, and there are actually a lot more reasons why I needed to get off this app and all social media. We've already talked about the frustration and the defeating feeling you get of doing battle with the algorithm. It's like we're fighting an AI, the real-life version of Tron. Another reason that I needed to leave is Instagram was starting to influence my personal work on so many levels, from what I was consuming, but more particularly what I was producing. I'd photograph subjects that I thought would be hot nectar for the feed. I'd record my life events all day long to make stories, and I'd record video clips with the intent on making reels just to please the algorithm. Please, algorithm. Just show me a little bit of love.
No.
Honestly, this was fine for a long time because I was still finding my voice as a visual storyteller. But the more and more I got closer to shooting the things that actually mattered to me, I started to realize that this is a type of content that doesn't really work on social media, especially Instagram. Photo essays don't exactly pop in the feed. I don't really like vertical video. I don't like short video clips like Reels. I can't stand the square crop or 8x10s. I prefer a wider format. So Instagram was really pushing my work in a direction that goes completely against my own artistic instincts. And on top of all of that, I shoot a bunch of different genres of both photo and video, and they don't mix in a format like Instagram. You really want to have a cohesive look and feel to your brand, and if you deviate from that, it's going to hurt you. So I don't like the confinement of basically just shooting the exact same thing over and over again. I started to feel like Instagram was making me shoot a certain way to make Instagram happy, but it wasn't really what I wanted to shoot to feel creatively fulfilled. I was actually starting to feel confined, and it just got more and more frustrating after each post. Let's move on to the time suck of social media. It takes a lot of time to shoot content, to edit it, to post it to various platforms, not to mention all the content that you consume. The doom scrolling, going down rabbit holes, getting into discussions, heaven forbid arguments with a bunch of random people online, and it really makes your time disappear. Time is our most precious resource. And it's not just time, it takes our attention away from the goals and dreams that we care about the most. It shatters that attention span and our ability to focus. Our focus is it's finite. It's like a tank of gas. So if we use it on something like social media, we're not going to have it for the things that we're passionate about. We start filling up our day, all those quiet little moments, on our phone. You're sitting on the toilet. You're waiting in a lineup. There's a lull in the conversation at dinner. That phone gets whipped out to plug all these little holes when the external stimulus gets low. Heaven forbid we're actually bored or uncomfortable for even a moment. Quiet, boring states are where ideas are born and when decisions get made to do something. And there is a much better choice than social media in these pivotal moments. I just mentioned the work that we are passionate about and our issues with time and time management because of social media. I just had a baby, and I want to spend as much time with her as possible. I want to build this YouTube channel moving forward. I want to get away from doing service-based client video production and do more self-produced stuff like YouTube. I want to take my photography to a new level and do more commissioned print work. And I definitely want to submit some photo essays and articles to magazines, and I want to publish several photo books. These are my goals moving forward. And you may think that growing a strong social media following may help with a lot of those goals, but it won't. Here is a quote from Seth Godin. Social media is a symptom, not a tactic. Now, what this means is if you do things that are noteworthy or remarkable, your popularity on social media will rise as a result. This is called celebrity. Now, trying to groom and cultivate your social media without doing the remarkable things, It's a futile effort. He goes on to say this about the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa has a huge social media presence. Her picture's everywhere, but she doesn't tweet. She's big on social media because she's an icon, but she's not an icon because she's big on social media. Now here's proof, a photo that I took of the Mona Lisa, and look at everyone taking shots of her to share on social media. I know many photographers who don't have an Instagram, but there are accounts on Instagram dedicated to their work, made by fans or publications, magazines, whatever, that feature them. There are plenty of actors, musicians, creatives of all kinds who don't have social media, but they're all over it because people find them amazing enough to share and talk about. Our focus should be on doing amazing work, not making sure that our feed is curated and uniform, perfectly filtered, that we're posting consistently, or that we've mastered gaming the algorithm. It is quite literally the exact opposite approach to put time into social media instead of our calling. Instead of that special thing that only we can do and share with the world. Now, social media takes our time and our focus, but almost as bad as that, it can take our money. Have you ever bought anything off an ad that you saw on social media? I have. Shirts from my favorite recording artist. I kickstarted some film from a supplier I like. New random lenses I may or may not need. Countless video and photo plugins and presets, which I might never use. They know what I like, and they feed it to me hot and ready, like a $5 pizza at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
What they don't do is reward me for it in any way. I don't get a cut. And to top it off, they sell my data to even more companies to give them more access to my time and my spending. We pulled the plug on cable to get away from the ads with the streaming services, just to have all the advertisers swarm all over social media like flies to a fresh poop. I'm done with it. At least here on YouTube, you can choose to pay for YouTube Premium and not have ads. I actually like that choice of having a free service with ads or a pay model without. You don't get that on Instagram. You don't get it on other social media. I'm over it. Like an Olympic hurdlist. And yes, I know what some of you are thinking. Maybe I need to control my spending impulses. It's not the advertisers or the platform's fault. And that is exactly what I did by getting rid of social media and therefore the advertising. I mean, I can't buy something if I don't even know it exists, right? Let's follow that money and talk about ownership. We own some shares in Meta, so we actually do benefit when people spend time on these platforms. But I don't get those benefits by spending my own time there. I don't get those benefits from posting my own content there, especially the stuff that is hard or expensive to produce, like astrophotography. You know, the stuff they won't even show my followers anyway. You get exposure. But any creative will go into a psychotic rampage when someone tries to compensate them with exposure. So why then are we so desperate to seek this exposure on a platform like Instagram? Ego. It's ego. And that is the worst possible reason that I can imagine. As a producer, I have this expression. You take the glory, I'll take the money. And that's exactly what happens on social media. The users fuel their egos with exposure and likes, and the shareholders get rich off of it. So you have to ask yourself, which would you rather be? So what's the solution to all this? Build your own platform or use the ones like YouTube that benefit you. So here on YouTube, I'm in the partner program. I'm making a whopping $35 a month. Cha-ching! But at least YouTube respects me enough to share the advertising revenue with me. My last video actually had Dior ads running on it, and I find that completely crazy. I shoot a video here in my spare room, and Dior is paying me money to be a part of that. What about photography, though? Build a website. Instagram's not your portfolio. If you're a serious photographer, you should have a serious website to be able to showcase your work in the way that you intend for it to be experienced by the viewers. Which brings me to today's sponsor, Squarespace. No, I'm just playing. I'm playing. There's no sponsor. Okay, so I've wanted to build my website for about a decade, and it wasn't until I actually quit social media that I started putting effort into it because I had the time. I've replaced that time that I spent on social media with filling up my photo galleries, writing blog posts, and making these YouTube videos. It has only been a little over a month, but I've done more on those fronts in that time than an entire decade leading up to it spending my time on social media. I can run ads on my blog if I want. I can build up my own audience and then partner with brands that I actually support to do sponsored content in the future without a company like Meta getting in the way, trying to limit my reach for their own benefit. I'm in control of my platform. It's not just a financial decision either, but an artistic one. I can now post what I want in the format that I want, no more square crop. I can show it how I want, and I'm the only one that gets a say in how I do all of this. All right, let's get a little serious here for a minute. We need to talk about mental health. It's probably the biggest issue facing our society right now. People are losing it, and social media is making it so much worse. During the pandemic, we were home so much, and we've been connecting online more than ever. And what I've learned during this whole time and these experiences, things have become really toxic online. There's a lot of people sharing content that actually goes against the betterment of society, things that are completely lies. And social media, the thing about it is that it's going to post things and share things with you that you engage with. They know that time on the platform equals profit, so they may show you things that make you angry in an attempt to get you to engage with it. So in the past couple of years, I've seen a lot of things that are misinformation, fascist, racist, and I feel like I have to go on and comment or denounce it. And it's left me completely drained, completely let down by humanity. And it's not just the social media that does this. Regular news and news websites do the same thing. They have the same effect. So Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, they all have tons of these negative posts. And it's all to get you to engage and stay there longer. Now, I've ended up unfollowing so many people who I used to respect. I lost a ton of friends who I used to be close with, all because of how political and divisive things became on social media. I'm there to share my creative work and to become inspired, not to get into daily debates over some global headline. Now, I don't compare myself to others online. I share my visual art there. I don't do a lot of lifestyle or selfie type stuff, but I know a lot of people do that. So if you see yourself comparing yourself to others online, their highlight reels of their lives, and it leaves you feeling depressed or less than your best after being on that platform, you need to consider leaving the platform or at least taking a break. I know that when I go online and I share things that are about my life, it's always about winning an award or going on a trip to some exotic location, getting access to an exclusive event. And, to be honest, I do it to stroke my ego, to manufacture this sort of lifestyle or an image of myself that's completely fake. It's less than 1% of my life. We're out there with our phones. Look at where I am and look at who I'm with and what I'm doing, what I'm eating. Look at me, 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 me. How is this helping anyone? I'm sure it was actually discouraging people that thought that my life was actually that good all the time, every day. Yesterday, I went for a walk in the forest with my wife and my daughter. I didn't shoot anything. I didn't share anything. And I can't tell you how nice it was to just smell the forest and not worry about how this experience could be content. And speaking of my daughter, I've decided not to use my phone in front of her. I don't want her seeing this obsession with devices and then modeling my behavior after that. I'm not going to join the Amish and completely renounce technology, but I want to show her that the rest of the world is so much more important than our phones. I have an opportunity to show her a better way of life than my own. And I'm realizing that by doing that, it works both ways. So by showing her that, it'll also make me a better person in the process. And I don't see social media playing any kind of role in that. Do you? No, that was rhetorical. You don't. Life is a lot like a photograph. You can't have a positive without a negative. Such is the balance of our existence in this universe. So yeah, there's going to be some negatives if you quit Instagram or leave any social media. I have a bunch of friends and family who I've basically lost touch with at this point. Social media is social, and it's a way to connect with people from your entire life's timeline. The old school friends that flame from high school, coworkers, clients, both past and future. And I'm kind of saddened that I don't get to see what all these people are up to. But honestly, at the same time, I'm kind of happy about that. Sometimes people share way too much, so I don't have a reason to hang out with them or call them because I already know every little detail about their lives, and they probably feel exactly the same way about me. I do miss some of these connections, but I know that by not being on social media, it's actually going to give us more of a reason to connect offline and go out and have more meaningful interactions. Maybe we go somewhere, have experiences together, make new memories. How exciting would it actually be to bump into friends out in the wild and actually have something to talk about, right? Will leaving social media hurt my business? No. In fact, I think it's going to have the opposite effect because I now have the time and the focus to pursue my goals full blast. And social media, it's not the only way that you can market. I could use traditional business marketing like an email list, in-person sales. I'd love to get my prints in stores as well as sell them on my website. And I want to do more self-produced content like YouTube videos, passive income, versus trying to get the attention of potential corporate clients on social media in order to produce videos for them. Now, I'm going to earn less money in the short term, which is a negative, but I'm setting myself up to be more productive, more independent, generate more passive income in the long term, and that is the superior strategy. Will I be going back to social media? No. I have no plans to return. The thought actually makes me cringe. Social media and our smart devices provide sensory overload. That never-ending feed of content desperately screaming for our attention. I want to go in the opposite direction of that. For example, I'm going to book a float in a sensory deprivation tank right after I finish recording this video. Now, if you've ever been in a float tank before, then you know there is nothing on this earth more relaxing or more calming than that. It is the exact opposite of the anxious feeling that you get from social media or any media. Now, there are a lot of benefits to leaving social media. I love not reaching for my phone all the time. I love the feeling I get of peace and calm when I see everyone around me fidgeting with their digits, trying to avoid discomfort or quiet situations. I love not having to shoot everything all the time, so I only carry cameras when I'm working on specific photography projects now. And I love that my work has become more laser-focused, more personal, and more creative than ever. I love that this improved focus and the free time is allowing me to do the things that I've wanted to do for years but haven't, like work on my website, submit photos and writing to magazines, to make more YouTube videos. I've even started journaling every morning and every night. I love it. I love that I'm no longer reacting and looking for reactions. And as you already know, we can be reactive or we can be creative. It all depends on how you choose to see.
This has been a broadcast of the Super Creative Corporation. Super Creative. Woo!